Oh, well, hello, I'm one for beautiful brothers, the one for beautiful imagination, one for beautiful purpose, guys, the one for beautiful imagination. I'm the Russian Maverick, and this is part 3 of what if me and my squad were in MHA. I gotta pull something up real quick. So hold on real quick, I gotta prepare something. And I am back with part freaking 3 of what if me and my squad were in My Hero Academia. Last time, we basically did the mock battles. There's just villains. So guess what? We're gonna tackle USJ in this one. Ah, damn! And I might even have a little bit of a surprise for you guys. Hmm. Basically, it would be like any other day in school, in, UA. As until I saw the announcements we're going on a field trip to the USJ. Before anyone's able to make any stupid mistake like saying Universal Studios Japan, I'd be like, no, before any of you say anything like that, why would you even think we were going there? Like, if you can't tell, my character's kind of like the, breaking the fourth wall without necessarily breaking the fourth wall unless I feel like it. Like, I can kind of, it's kind of like a sixth sense. I can kind of tell whenever something's going to happen. In a way. So, like, I was sensing that someone was going to say that. I'm like, now, before you even dare say that, no, it's not Universal Studios Japan. It's freaking Unseen Simulation Joint. And I thought I would be like, why, thank you. And I'd be like, that was what I teach. And so, yeah, we basically just make it all the way over there. And then there would be the Hero 13. Hero 13 would explain her thing, be doing the whole explanation on that. That's whenever Doors would slam shut behind us. The lights would get turned off. I'd be just like, oh, why do I feel like I feel like I saw this coming a mile away? I mean, with the fact that we're trying to become heroes, just a regular field trip just seems like too easy. Like, there had to be some sort of catch. But for this to be the catch? Crap. You don't even have to tell me, Aizawa-sensei. I know. Whoever that guy is over there, next to him, they're not fake villains. So I would be taking note of how smart I am. So with Izuku and Bakugo and Shoto, and even Ida and Minetta, like, a lot of people will be taking note on how easy it is for me to figure out shit. And basically, I would be at the point where Shigaraki and Kirigiri would basically, Kirigiri would see that, 13 was trying to use the whole black hole thing. He would, take her out. Like, take me out to the ball game. Just, you know what I mean. Basically, after all that's done, Shikari would finally have the third portal open up, and will be a Nomu, a high-end Nomu. This Nomu's meant to kill All Might, because it's shock absorption and regeneration. And super strength and super speed. And basically, I would be like, and you're explaining this to us why? Just because we're not All Might doesn't mean we can't, do anything. And basically, it would be like, what are you doing? Are you trying to get yourself killed? Well, last time I checked, Izuku, you ran out here with me as well. So did Bakugo and Shoto and God knows who else. I'm doing this to, make sure Aizawa-sensei is safe. Because, at this point, this is when the Nomu would be smacking around Aizawa. And I'd be like, fair enough. What about Bakugo and Shoto? How do you explain them? And Izuku would be like, technically, Bakugo's with Kirishima. And, well, they're having some sort of competition? Yeah, I don't get it either. And the whole thing with Shoto, I don't get it. His word is all half and half. He's only using his ice power. And I'm just like, I better take note of that. What than I already have. And I'd just be like, so you, Sir Bird Brain, are supposed to be powerful enough to take out All Might. Well, then I guess if I destroy you, I'm stronger than All Might. I'd just be like, if I destroy you, I'm stronger than All Might. And he's going to be like, Hello? And that's whenever the Nomu would throw a punch, and Izuku would be like, holy shit. But that's whenever Izuku would realize, basically, at the same time the Nomu threw a punch, I would have held my hand out. And almost like some sort of wave would have came out of my hand, straight into the Nomu's face. It wouldn't have really done anything to the face. At least that's what it would seem at first. As until Izuku realizes the punch that the Nomu threw, it's almost like it deliberately missed me. Like, missed me on purpose. Izuku's like, man, even if it's a bird brain, it shouldn't be that hard for it to be able to tell where he is. Like, I'm glad he's not hurt, but still, that's way too much of a coincidence. And, I'd just be like, gotcha. Now, you're mine. I've never really told anyone this, Izuku, so feel lucky that you're hearing it now. But there's a certain difference in between me and my sister and the rest of my family. You see, before I was born, Mother and Father were going on a trip to a place, well, basically over to the States. They were going to take an entire tour of all 50. However, they stopped on one of the states. It was called Tennessee. Why did they stop there, per se? Because an incident happened there which would change everything and make me far more powerful than just this lone sound wave producing quirk. You see, Mother Dearest, she ended up falling down some sort of hole and making some sort of cave entrance. My father said he was going to find a way to pull her up. But curiosity got the better of my mother, and she ended up wandering deeper into the cave. That's where she would have found almost like some sort of otherworldly creature. A creature formed from the unrelenting power having passed on, needing a new body to contain it. However, the new body was... it was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Almost like some sort of chimeric creature, a mold of several different creatures in the one. It called itself Heretic. It said it was a hollow, and that it was Basically, its entire reason for living was formed from the Reiatsu of a man by the name of Sosuke Aizen. Mom tried to fight it as hard as she could, even getting to the point where she would run away. But that's the thing. If she turned around to run away, she felt a pain in her shoulder. Bite. She was getting eaten alive by the hollow named Heretic. But that was the thing. Something had happened. Even though she was the one getting eaten, it seemed like she wasn't going anywhere. As soon as the light from all of the meshing of different powers, Cork and Reiatsu alike, subsided, my mother was a changed person. She was never like the one my father once knew. Of course, there were certain things about her still there, but she had indeed changed. It wasn't until she finally had me, and then Jiro. That's whenever she had fully returned back to what my father considered her normal self. And that's why Jiro is often given a lot more favoritism than me in our family. Because Jiro, in my father's eyes, is the reason why our mother is back to being who she's supposed to be. I guess whenever she finally had me, all of that Reiatsu and Quark mesh, they all came into being inside of me again. I am the result of the quirk of the Jiros and the Reiatsu of a hollow comprised of the dead soul of one Sosuke Aizen, traitor of Soul Society. These two things fused together. The hollow being named Heretic. You see, because of this, I don't only have the quirk ability, basically the equivalent to Aizen's sword, only using sound waves instead of sight. There are several different alterations. For example, where do they see this? Item number 31, Shakaho. And then just blast the Nomu. What? I just realized. So you're not dead yet, Birdbrain. Well, you do need to have regeneration. I'll give you that. You're one stubborn motherfudger. But that won't save you from what I've got in store. Alright, Coho. And then there's like a cannon of lightning would just come out. And then basically that would be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I'd be like, see, that's how you quite literally make getting rid of one of those bird brain things a piece of cake. Now, if you don't mind, I have another score to settle. These guys want to infiltrate a place of heroes. They're gonna have to pay the price. And I'll just go straight to dash for Shigaraki. And that's when Kirigiri just warps him and Shigaraki both out of there. I'm like, ah, shit. I just had to have a warp gate quirk. And little do I know at first that Izuku's pretty turned on by my display of power. I only need to use 2 Hatos in order to kill the freaking Nomu. And yes, it's completely dead. There's like Hato, like Shokoho, and whichever number Raikoho is, like Shakaho, and whichever number Hato, like Raikoho is. I don't know now. I know that Hana number 33 is Sokatsui. Number 90 is Korohitsugi. And number 99 is like Goryu Tenmetsu or something. Like that. Basically, like, as soon as All Might and all the other heroes would get there, it'd be like, did we miss out on something? Because it sure seems like we did. You know, Bakugo and Shoto would have also seen me just manhandle the Nomu. Like, just get rid of it like weak sauce. But they would have also heard the explanation, and so would have Minetta and Ida heard the whole explanation as to why I have these other powers. Because Aizen had them. And the Hato that, you know, was basically trying to eat my mother basically got absorbed inside her instead, and was only released whenever I was born. So it would only figure that I would have another thing that, you know, Shinigamis can do. Like the keto spells. One of those, like, type of keto spells being Hato. And guys, I am sorry for, like, getting it wrong. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. Hakudo is actually a healing keto, not a physical thing. So basically, I would check to see if any of my pack had any serious injuries. Now, Izuku trying to go all like ham and AWOL, you know, using one for all, like, pretty much to a certain extent. I would indeed see that, and I'd be like, Izuku, hold still. Hakuda. And basically, I would heal him. And I'd see that Bakugo and Shoto pretty much fared necessarily well. Like, basically, they didn't really need any help. And I'd see that Ida and Minetta, they just barely got out alive. And I'm pretty sure that, like, the only reason why Minetta hasn't, like, gotten a serious injury is because Sue was there along with him. And eventually Izuku came in. And, well, Ida was actually out to get the heroes. So he couldn't have suffered a major injury. Unless he, like, fell underneath his own 2 feet on the way there, or on the way back. But I find that quite hard to believe. I mean, the ends on his feet are big, but, like, not that big. And so, basically, Yeah, that would be a definite, like, news. I just gave Izuku, like, the glare at Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto, and even, like, others that could possibly have heard the glare, like, if you tell anyone, you will die. I'm not afraid to kill some people to keep a secret. Like, you gotta remember here, sort of like a reincarnation, like accidental reincarnation of Aizen. So, if Aizen's not afraid to kill some people in order to keep a secret, I wouldn't be much different. It also kind of explains how I was able to, like, just, like, dominate over Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto so easily. Because I got Aizen inside of me. Basically, and the only thing really left to do after the end of the day being, well, given the recent news about the UA dorms being put in, and, well, Aizawa would indeed come back to teaching, after Recovery Girl was done making him look like a mummy. Yeah. Anyways. Seeing as I pretty much know where the male dorms are, and I pretty much memorized, basically, like, managed to, like, get, like, cute little mini cue cards to help me memorize the different numbers of the different rooms of the ones I wish to make my pack. A part of it. I would be able to find them. First, I would indefinitely go after the one I know as Glasses Kid, everything. But hey, not like in a mocking tone, more like in a playful tone, because, Aizen at one time in his life had glasses. So I would just be doing this just to mess with him. Because, I wouldn't really be trying to insult him. I mean, from any knowledge I had from, like, past experience, I would know that Aizen once had glasses. And, well, basically, I'm kind of like some sort of reincarnation of Aizen into this other world that doesn't seem to, know anything about Reiatsu or Hado or Hakudo or even Kido spells in general. Or even Zanpakuto. Which, considering, whenever Aizen probably would have died, at that point, his Zanpakuto and him were literally the same thing. So it only figures out that my quirk, instead of me actually having a sword that did the same thing as Kyogasu Getsu, or just having Kyogasu Getsu in general, that my quirk would be the ability to, illusions. But, do it in a different way than Kyogasu Getsu did it. Basically, if you saw the Shikai release of Kyogasu Getsu, Shatter Kyogasu Getsu, you would basically be under, the control of the person. But the thing how my thing works is, like, it's more or less power of suggestion if it only hits the outside of your ear. But if it gets all the way into your eardrum, you're basically completely under my control. All of your 5 senses. So if it only hits the, like, outer rims of your ear, it's merely just, like, really powerful power of suggestion. Like the power of a version of a power of suggestion that I'm just really good at. But the majority of the time, I like to make sure it hits the eardrum automatically. Or at least, gets there eventually. And, well, seeing as you would have to basically, detach my arms in order to get, rid of the power. Rid of the quirk usage. It's not like Aizen with a sword where if you, take the sword away, it can no longer use. Which I'm not even sure if that's true. It's literally not a sword, so it's literally in my hands, like my quirk, so. Plus, seeing as the quirk didn't even originate as a quirk, instead of Zanpakuto ability, like a Shikai ability, basically, that's kind of the reason why Aizawa can't turn it off. Because it wasn't originally a quirk. It was a Zanpakuto ability. And the Zanpakuto ability of one of the strongest mofos in all of Soul Society. One of the strongest mofos in all of Soul Society. And well, basically, me knowing all the different rooms, because I was able to get everything jotted down on different cards. Excuse me. I would go ahead and find Glasses rooms. I would just call them Glasses. And I'd just be like, knock, knock, knock. And you'd be like, coming. And you would just see me at the door and be like, oh, it's you. And I'd be like, Ida, don't be rude. I mean, I know you by your name. Why don't you call me by mine? And no, just because of what I said doesn't mean you have to call me Aizen or Heretic or anything like that. It's still Michael Jiro. Just because I admitted that I knew about the past doesn't mean that I fully embrace the past. It just means that I'm not afraid to use said tools that the past provides me. I'm not afraid to use those tools. I've never really been one to basically look a gift horse in the mouth, you see. If an opportunity provides itself for me to be able to succeed in life, as long as there's really no harm done, unnecessary harm that is, I will take said opportunity. Now, I just lean into the room and close the door behind me, and I'm like, I'm sure you know how this goes. And he just well, by now, yes, but I'm just surprised that, I'm one of the ones you would consider, anything. I mean, I'm just me. The only real thing special about me being the fact that I'm a part of the Ingenium family. And I'd just be like, Ida. I'm such a baka sometimes. Of course you're special. I mean, you have to be pretty special in order for me to, even think once about doing what I'm gonna do right now. About to do. See, I like you. Because let's call you a little bit of a precious snowflake compared to the others. Izuku's a cinnamon roll, Bakugo's an angry Pomeranian, Shoto's a problem child like no other, yet you, you're a precious little snowflake of nerddom. And he would be like, excuse me, nerddom? And I'd be like, yeah, you heard what I said, nerddom. And he would be like, well, what about Minetta? And I'd be like, what about Minetta? It's not his turn yet. And now it's all about you and me. And I just pop up behind, Ida using Shunpo. I'd be like, what I can do is set time. And I'd just be like, yeah, I could taste the sweat. Someone's getting hot, aren't they? Yet, since you have the AC on, that can only mean one thing. At least while you're in the presence of me. You like the prospect of being a part of my pack. You're into it. You're more than into it. I can tell this is going to be fun. And basically, all throughout the entire thing, would just be moaning like a cat. Me basically using my spiritual pressure to kind of subdue the sound, kind of like soundproof Ida's like entire part of the dorm, so that nobody hears like the immense amount of moaning being done. And then I'd just be like, well, that's done. And he was like, well, that was very quick. And I'm like, well, it's not much different when Mia, Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto. I wasn't much different with them. Like I said to them before, I'm gonna make you guys beg before you get any of this. And then I'd just be like, oh, and look at the time. I would just open the door and Shunpo out of there. But right before I Shunpo'd, I would have closed the door behind me. Be a gentleman. Basically, the next second, I would basically have Shunpo'd all the way to Minetta's part of the dorm. Just do a little bit of knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. That isn't Guns N' Roses last time I checked. But what is Guns N' Roses is basically, I would have my own little CD. I realized that Ida wasn't much for, CDs and shit. You basically didn't have much room for me to do what I wanted to do. So I would see if Minetta would be any different. Seeing as I could just use my Ryatsu to soundproof the rooms. And, seeing as, Aizen, I would technically have a lot of Ryatsu. So, this wouldn't be much of a problem. Basically, Minetta would have been in the middle of doing some things. Like, basically reading a book. And you would just hear, knock, knock, knock. And you'd be like, come in, the door's not even locked. even if it was locked, someone with a powerful enough quirk could probably come in here and still kick my ass. You know, the sound of that, I would just be like, something tells me that there's a whole other side to your grave hair than what was originally thought. This analysis seems to deduce that someone's putting on a little bit of an act, a little bit of a show, in order to keep the public eye appeased, or not appeased, whichever gets him into less of a fickle pickle of a situation. They may deem him a pervert, but at least they don't deem him a complete pariah. See, trying to make things easier on yourself by taking the piss from everybody else, which I haven't taken the piss from. Why, how troublesome. Anyways, if the door really isn't locked, then I just let myself in. Coming in. Like, oh yeah. And, you know, then it would just be like, really have to make yourself look like a freaking Kool-Aid man? Will we sound like him? And I'd just be like, yeah, I guess you're right. But, and I would just close the door behind me, and I'd be like, probably already know. After everything that happened in the USJ. And then I would be like, yeah, but before you said anything, I'm not stupid enough to try to rat you out. With everything that was mentioned, and learning up on anything I could, basically I figured out that you could have killed any one of us the past few, well, however long it's been since the start of the school year, and even before that. Had you found anyone before it, like the school year even started, even before the 10 months of training even. If you had seen any one of us, you could have had the power to kill any one of us. You do have the power to kill any one of us. And no one would even know. Why don't you take advantage of that power? I'm not saying that I'm trying to encourage it. I'm just saying that, unlike people like me, you have that power. Power to get rid of those people that really just use you as a toy for their amusement. Making you feel like you have to hide your real, wants and desires. Like a little blanket of something else. A little blanket of little white lies that you have to make them believe is your actual personality. And I'd be like, very accurate assessment, Minetta. Indeed, I do have the power to kill all of you at once. Though, that would be boring, and also not exactly in my best interest, considering what I want to do with all 5 of you. You see, the 5 of you, Izuku, Bakugo, Shoto, Ida, and yourself, you're all special to me. And, well, I decided that, seeing as you're also special to me, I won't take out my wrath upon you through the power of the one who they call Sosuke Aizen, reborn inside of me. No, unlike that, you will be the ones I spare, most of all. You will be my pack. I haven't really decided on who to make my alpha, my omega, my beta, and my pup, and well, any basic bitches I find. Hey, at least they'd be a part of the pack. It's better than being not a part of the pack. At least, even if you were a basic bitch of the pack, you'd still be part of the pack. so you'd still be possibility of being spared my wrath. Well, then again, there is more than one type of wrath. There's the wrath that happens whenever an entire complete multiple areas have been completely decimated and a total display of ultimate genocide. And there's a kind of wrath that can be done in the bedroom. Or anywhere you're thinking. I just have one suggestion. Or more or less a question to ask you that would go along with the suggestion. And then it would be like, shoot. By the way, I also realized you're looking at my music player a lot. Then I would just show him the CD, and I'd be like, you like? And I was like, are you crazy? How could I not like Guns N' Roses? And instead, you have Welcome to the Jungle on there. Well, if we're gonna do this, if you really feel like I'm deserving, well, considering how long you were with Ida, I'm probably considering that it won't be long with me either, but hey, at least, what counts is what counts. I'm like, very understanding of you, Minetta. You see, this is what I like all of you. You're so much better than the others. You complete me. And now, for me to complete all of you. And for those of you that don't even know what I'm talking about, I have Guns N' Roses here, basically pulled up. 1 hour version, Welcome to the Jungle, and start. And it would start. Using my route to soundproof the room, everything would just kick in. Headbang. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. No. To the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Me. Welcome to the jungle. Yeah, that would have been something. Well, there is only one problem. It's not necessarily a problem, but it's just a coinky dink. Just so happens that if you're close enough, considering, the Ryatsu regular kind of fluctuated as me and Minetta were kind of doing the thing, you could hear something. So, Izuku, Bakugo, Shoto, and Ida. Not really Ida. Ida just doing his own thing. Because it just never happened. So, just Izuku, Bakugo, and Shoto showing up, basically being like, what's up? And I'd just be like, well, this was unexpected. Indeed unexpected. Something of great concern. Basically, I would just tell everyone that we should go back to their rooms, and I would meet up with them in a second. Like, they would all get their turns. Though, seeing as I had just gotten to the 5th person, and I was only feeling like doing with, Izuku, Bakugo, Shoto, Ida, and Minetta, as well, there's other people in my squad, and they are interested in their own peeps. And technically, I think 5 is enough. Plus me in there, that's a total of 6 people. So, yeah, I think 5 is enough. Plus, depending on whatever happens in the future, I mean, pups galore. But now it all comes to the next test. The test will decide who is who and basically who is what in our little, pack. Pack of a total of 6 freaking members. Basically, I would have, basically it would be like a 6-way call. I know doing this kind of sounds crazy, but I don't want everyone crowded in one dorm room. So I would kind of make like a little bit of a 6-way call. Make sure everybody was in on it. Because, well, I freely mentioned that I'm not really all that much of a texting expert. I'm not that big of a fan of texting. Just like my IRL self, I am not the biggest fan of texting. Because the size of my freaking fingers, it sucks ass. And so, and before you guys ask why I just don't use like the microphone feature or something, well, some of the problems that come with that, I just don't even think are worth even trying to experience even once. So yeah, no thanks. I would rather just, call instead of type or try to use some sort of microphone function to get my message out. So it may be a 6-way call, but it doesn't really matter to me. I'll deal with anything that happens afterwards. When it needs to be dealt with. So basically, the 6-way call would happen. I just tell everybody, their roles, basically. I would tell everybody that, despite everything, I have decided that not only has Izuku had the most experience, basically, why else, would he have any other reason, basically, all the reason in the world for me to, make him the beta of the pack. I mean, he's the one who's had the most experience. And, well, he does indeed have one for all. The literal quirk of the, symbol of peace. All Might. The #1 pro hero. So yeah, that's pretty much all the reason in the world for me to make him the beta of the pack. And since I don't really want to completely disgrace Bakugo, I decide that, well, beta and pup could, you say, kind of be like wagering on which one's more important. Seeing as he's already being called like a chihuahua or an angry Pomeranian as it is, by like me, myself, and I already do that as it is. I decide Bakugo would do best as the pup. And so, yeah. Basically, I decide that since the Omegas and everything are kind of like more layman's terms type in terms of the pack, that there should be more than one. Plus, I don't want to make anyone like a basic bitch. They've all had experience with me. Doesn't matter how much experience, just the fact that they've had experience itself shows that they're not weak in the department of anything like that. So I would just decide that there would be 2 Omegas instead of having any basic bitches. And the Omegas would be Ida and Minetta. Ida and Minetta just being glad that they're not the basic bitches. I mean, being the title of Omega isn't that great either. In fact, it's not all that great. But at least they're not basic bitch status. And I'm like, hey, I got literally like Sosuke eyes and the whole powers. I'm not gonna have any basic bitches in my squad, My squad isn't gonna have any basic bitches in it. I've just decided, no basic bitches. Maybe some Omegas, but no basic bitches. Plus, the word bitch would imply female, and none of you are females last time I checked. Though, due to some things that involve quirks, could still, somehow manage to, and that fact alone I'm like, you and wow. Like, both you and wow. like, due to the fact of, like, quirks and how they work, like, just, not only you, but also WoW. And basically everyone, like, gets what I mean whenever I say you and WoW. Like, both. At the same time. So basically, Ida and Minetta are my Omegas. I have, like, 2 Omegas. And, well, my beta is basically, wait, did I cover Shoto? Did I cover Shoto? I don't think I covered Shoto. Basically, because Shoto, I guess there's going to be 2 betas as well. No, wait. Izuku would be the beta. And Bakugo would be the pup because of the whole angry Pomeranian thing. Shoto, I guess Shoto would be up there with Izuku in the, form of beta. Because dude has 2 different quirks. It doesn't matter if he doesn't use the other one. He still has 2 different quirks. And his dad is literally the number 2 hero. Regardless of how much of a scumbag he is. So basically, I have 2 betas, 2 omegas, 1 pup. Yeah, basically 2 betas, 2 omegas, 1 pup, and myself as the alpha. And I'm basically like, is that understood, everyone? Do you all understand your places amongst the pack? Because if you don't, I might have to cut a bitch. Basically, I would just show that basically I would basically have used my Reiatsu, seeing as, it's a little bit more flexible now that it's kind of quirkatized. Basically, I would have used it to kind of make myself kind of be able to do some sort of weird hollow werewolf transformation. It basically kind of, whenever Grimjow turned into that cat-like creature, I'd be able to turn into like this hollow werewolf. Like mix of hollow, but also like mix of werewolf. Basically, Wolfman meets like freaking Bastolorde Ichigo. Like, the Wolfman meets Bastolorde Ichigo is basically what I would be, sporting. I basically look like a Bastolorde Wolfman. Whenever I was like, because if anybody has any questions, that, would like jeopardize anything to do with the pack, like, I can cut a bitch. Like, I have no problem with doing so. It's basically like a hidden ability I have to turn into this, like this Bastolorde Wolfman type creature. And I haven't showed it to any of my family, except for one time with Jiro, but she got knocked out. And, well, I didn't explain anything to her, so she just thinks that she was seeing things. And I just like to keep it at that, not give her any incentive to think otherwise. So technically, I'm keeping a secret without keeping a secret. Like, I'm technically not, like, saying that I'm not doing it, so I'm not lying. Just making sure that she never figures out herself about what I can do. Others, like, basically beside, my already other powers. As being, like, part of Aizen's Reiatsu. And basically I decide Well, Izuku, as my beta of my pack, you will indeed, be somewhat of a first come, first serve. Which means everyone else is going to have to be patient or pay the price. And I would just start to growl like, like, and basically everyone else just like steps back like, holy shit. He like turned into the Vasta Lorde Wolfman thing. Like he said he could and he can. Like right now I'm in that form and basically I'm just like, basically I can telepathically speak with people using my Ryatsu, like projecting it out at people, using it to like telepathically speak to them. And I would just be like, so it's understood. Good. Now I don't have to cut a bitch. Or if none of you understood, bitches. Anyways, I would just return back to my normal form and just be like, now Izuku, I believe your dorm is this way. I'll just point over to where Izuku's dorm is. Like part of the dorm. Like dormitory system. And basically me and Izuku, well, let's say that Izuku, just like I said, I'm not bottom material, you are. And Izuku would be like, so we're finally doing this? And I'd be like, only if you're willing to beg. Now, Izuku, whose body does this belong to? So I would just kind of stroke around the neck and feel around the little tufts of hair. Lick around the neck, like back and forth, up and down. And nip at the neck a little, as I whisper in the ear again, whose does it belong to? And Izuku's like, he's already getting hot and already getting wet. And he's just like, yours, it's yours. And I'd just be like, now, beg for me. My beta of this pack, beg for me. Beg for it. Beg for it, I said. And Izuku's like, yes, please, I beg of you. And that's all you needed to say. Now, I feel a howling sensation coming on. Oh! Anyone else that was awake that didn't already know would just think it was like a regular wolf like howling off in the distance. But anyone else, that already did know, would know that it was me, and Izuku getting it on. Basically, Bakugo being, like, not only was he made the freaking pup of the pack, like, the only, like, positive the Bakugo can think of is not only is he a member of the pack at all, but at least he's not an Omega. Those are the only two positives he can actually think of. Besides the fact that he's already kind of gotten a slight experience. But here's Izuku getting the full experience. And yes, I said full experience. That freaking howl wasn't for nothing. We're getting it on. And I'd just be like... Ooh. And he's going to be like, yeah, howl, howl, please, more, more. And I'd be like, beg for it. And he'd just be like, I'm your beta, and I beg for it, more, more. And I'd be like, I'm your alpha, and seeing as you begged, more will come. Oh! You like that? If you like that, you're never gonna love this. This is kind of what happened whenever it first happened with Shoto. Only, I was more focused on the roof of his mouth. No, our tongues. A little bit of, they say about arm wrestling. What about tongue wrestling? Whenever Izuku hears that, like, tongue wrestling, and I'd just be like, shh. Like, and he's gonna be like, whoa. And he would feel like my hand go over to the other side and be like, now where were we last time? Yes, I remember the mock battles. We're about to go into this. Well, minus the tongue part, but I guess you could call that an added bonus. You can always signal me whenever you need to breathe. If I need to breathe. But being the alpha, I'll no doubt be stronger. And Izuku would just kind of nod his head. Slightly, seeing as he's kind of entrapped within my tongue. Like his tongue. Basically, his tongue is kind of entrapped in mine. So he'd only be able to nod it slightly. As his nose would kind of be pressed up several times against mine. It would kind of be like a little bit of a nose tickle. And I'd just be like, Izuku, you flatterer. You want this, don't you? And I'd just be like, right onto the cheeks. Like, poke right into him. And Izuku would just be like, more and more. Almost there. I don't know to what, but we're almost there. Almost there. And I'd be like, you feel something inside of you, don't you, Izuku? It's called an orgasm. And yes, it does indeed seem that we're almost there. Now, I just make it all the way. You feel my chest pressed up against yours. Feel it, baby? You feel it, babe? And Izuku would be like, babe? Yeah, babe. Or, more appropriately, Izuku-kun? You feel it, Izuku-kun? And Izuku would be like, yes, my-chan. I mean, like, my-kun. Yes, my-kun. I feel it. I feel it. I feel. Oh my god, it's happening. And I'd be like, then I succeeded. You're definitely soaking. I'm gonna have to get you some new clothes. And Izuku would be like, my-chan, you said it like... And I'm like, yeah, we're both getting new clothes. You got so wet, you got me wet. But I don't mind. Your wet is tasty. Very tasty. I drank it all up, and you didn't even realize. You were too busy moaning and groaning at my success. Please, try to have some restraint, some respectability. I mean, you are the beta. You have to have some level of authority. Now, maybe, not as much as an alpha. Definitely not as much as an alpha. But, Izuku-kun, you're a betta. You should at least have some self-respect. And not being so easy to take down. Or maybe it's just the eyes in me being so easily be able to dominate others. But regardless, Izuku-kun, we definitely do indeed have some catching up to do after I'm done with the rest. Now, off to Bakugo-kun. You know, I would just call Izuku Izuku-kun. I would call Bakugo Bakugo-kun. I would call Shoto Shoto-kun. Or more or less appropriately, Shokun. You know, instead of Shoto, Shokun. And Ida, basically Ikun. And Minetta, Minetta-kun. Or at least something close to that nature. Basically, I would show up at Bakugo's house, you know, in something all spiffy and cleaned up. And, you know, Bakugo would realize, hey, are you wearing Izuku's clothes? And basically I would be like, well, it's the alpha, you know, as long as Izuku-kun's okay with it, I'm able to wear any of his clothes. Just as long as it isn't too obvious, you know, for the sake of his mother. And Bakugo would be like, oh, well, you had me be the pup. What does that entail? And I would just be like, well, until we find you a suitable, you know. Well, technically, I don't think that's ever going to happen, someone being more suitable to you than me. So while you will indeed be the, you know, first pup, I guess we could call you the head pup, you're still mine, Bakugo-kun. Or should I call you Katsuki-kun? Maybe you'd like that more. And Bakugo would be like, yeah, Katsuki-kun is fine. And I'd just be like, okay then, Katsuki-kun. Let's do this. I just grab onto his arm, pull him in, and I just close the door behind us. And I'd be like, where to? And Bakugo's like, okay, I'll show you to my room. If what I indeed think is going to happen is what's going to happen. And I'd just be like, well, what do you think's going to happen? And Bakugo's like, well, I can tell I'm going to have to beg first, which, I mean, you may get that out of me, but it's not like it's going to be easy. And I would just be like, I wouldn't expect anything less from my Katsuki-kun. Now, let's do this. And Bakugo would try to reverse on me, and I would just, you know, reverse on him, and being like, you really think it's gonna be that easy? I would just pull up on top of Bakugo, and I'd be like, you know, like, all up against his ear, and basically giving him a little bit of a nibble, while whispering, it's never that easy. Not until you get to where I feel you're worthy. But first, you gotta beg first. I got Izuku-kun to beg. I got Izuku-kun to beg. And what about you? I mean, come on. Is it really that hard? No, you can't get out of this. I won't let you get out of this. The way I have it, you may get hot, but I don't think you would want to use your hot against me. And Bakugo would be like, of course not, me-chan. And I'd be like, It's my chan, and, well, not even my chan, it's my kun. I'm not a girl. That's probably several mistakes you already made. But they're forgivable, since they're just simple ones. That you just now being the head pup, entering here, could probably easily make, just like any of the others. So, I'll forgive you. But remember, it's me, kun. Well, not even me, kun. My kun. It's my kun to you, sir. Or should I call you Katsuki-kun? I'm sure you want this. And Bakugo would just be like, yes. Please. 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 And I'd just be like, oh, Bakugo, you've belittled yourself so much. Giving up already? I would assume that the head pup would have more restraint than this. Then again, being related to Aizen, I guess I would need to have some attraction skills. Very well, if you want it so, and you've managed to subside yourself so. Very well then. First, we press up against the chest. Then we lean in for the neck. Then we start slowly finger down the chest. And then we slide in the tongue from the nibble of the neck. We slide in the tongue afterwards. Now, a gravitational pull. I feel around. I find your good spots. How did you find it so easily? You underestimate the power of the one known as the traitor of Soul Society. I am not just good at figuring out people, but I am perfect at it. Perfecting the art of knowing anyone I see and being able to figure them out. 1, 2, 3. That's it. It's that easy. I figured Izuku out, figured you out, figured Shoto out, figured Ida out, figured Minetta out. Yet, I still feel that some sort of experience is in order for things to get done right. If not, then there would be other chaos. And, well, I don't know about you, but I'm not exactly the chaotic evil type. Well, not yet, anyways. I got your good spot real good. I've got you right where I want you. Now, beg for it more. And Bakugo would just be like, yes, please, please. And I'd be like, wow, that was easy. You're too easy, Bakugo. Have some restraint in you. Maybe not as much as Izuku, seeing as he's the beta, but at least have something. I want those part of my pack to show that the pack is strong. I want strength within our numbers. You basically got a carrot. A baby carrot. It only elongates slightly. Why am I not surprised? Though, why am I not surprised that you're already wet, also? I think you also have something coming on now, don't you? Yes, yes, yes. It's so... I could tell it was going to happen. If there's anything Izuku has over you, it's at least the slightest bit of restraint. You're too easy to act on. But hey, I can't really blame you. I mean, I am indeed attractive. You said it yourself. And you know, after everything was all said and done, I would just head over to Shoto's place. And I'd be like, "Oh, Shoto." And Shoto would be like, "He's here?" And basically he would answer the door, and I'd be like, Man, Bakugo's clothes are kind of weird to fit into. Don't even ask. You were even going to. And Shoto would be like, "Wait, before you do anything, my father, if he were to figure out about this, I know you probably don't care, but I do. I don't want anything similar to what happened the USJ to happen in between you and my father. And I can probably tell that's what would happen if you figured out about this. So, before anything else, I at least think we should make a good plan before doing anything." And I'd be like, "So you're wanting to hold off until we can both come up with something good to be able to trip up your father?" Well, that sucks. I was planning on getting into a little bit of a paprika parfait of a man who I call my other betta. I guess now I send off my omegas. I wonder what they're willing to charge. And I just go over to Ida's place, and I'm like, "Oh, glasses," also known as Ikun. And Ida would be like, "Ikun?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, Ikun. Ida, Ikun. And before you ask, it's my kun to you." And Ida would just be like, "Oh, yeah, my kun. Seeing as you're a guy. So yeah, my kun. Well, if you're wanting, well, basically, I mean, I know that would be great and all, but I don't really know. I mean, everything that happened with the whole villain attack, and now knowing everything about you, it just, things are weird. And I'm pretty sure Minetta feels the same way." And I'm like, "Well, I won't know till I find out from the gape mouth, like the gape horse mouth itself. Like the mouth of gape horse itself." I do end up finding out from Minetta that he does feel the same way. And I'm like, well, 2 out of 5, that isn't, well, that bad. Plus, regardless, I'd be getting new things from both my beta and, well, one of my betas and head pup. Oh, joyous day. I wonder how long will be till anything happens as a result of what's just now transpired. Last time I checked, there's something about a UA sports festival coming up soon. Didn't have to take a peek at the UA schedule, but I did. And now, more or less unlike anyone else, I know what's going to happen. UA Sports Festival, and after that's done, it will basically decide how many heroes want any of us to, intern at their hero agency. And also, the whole thing about picking our hero names. I already have something in mind. Well, several somethings, actually. Seeing as not really many of them outside of my pack, really no one outside of me and my pack, know about the guy. Wolfpack hero Sosuke Aizen. Perfect. Now, just about the whole internship thing as a whole. And even the whole thing with a sports festival. That's gonna be something. Not only Class 1A, but Class 1B and General Studies students will be participating in the sports festival. Indeed. Indeed. Things will get interesting. Excitement all over. So says the Wolfpack Alpha hero, Sosuke Aizen. And that is indeed part 3 of what if I was in my, what if me and my squad were in My Hero Academia. Bye.